Welcome to my channel. This is Grace Manzi, Sewing Made Easy, where everything is very easy, okay? In the video today, I'll be showing you how to make an off-shoulder elasticated top. It's going to be in two versions, the free version and also with an peplum, okay? It's a two-in-one top, so you can decide which version you like. And it's very, very, very simple, believe you me, okay? Before we get into the video, I just want to say thank you so much to the subscribers of this channel, to the likes, to the comments, and oh, I want to say thank you so much for even taking time to watch my videos, okay? Right. If you're watching me for the first time, today is your day. Just hit that subscribe button, also the notification bell, so you don't miss out on any of the videos coming up on this channel, okay? Now let's get straight into the video. And these are the measurements required. The off-shoulder measurement, the bust measurement, the arm round measurement, your armhole measurement, and also you're going to determine the length of your top, so you make that measurement as well. The figures that you see here are my own measurements that I'm going to use, okay? So after taking your measurements, you put down the measurements that you are going to get for either yourself or the person you are making the top for. You are going to need your fabric, some elastic, a measuring tape, some pins, a chalk, and a pair of scissors. Now to cut your top, you need your measurements handy. Fold your fabric into two, as I have done here, okay? Right. Now you start by taking this vertical measurement, okay? This 15 inches, the length of your top, okay? And you are going to add the peplum width that you want, okay? So if I want a peplum that is 5 inches wide, it means I'm going to add 5 here to make 20 inches, okay? So before you measure those 15 inches, you start by measuring 1 inch sewing allowance, okay, and mark. But that is my 1 inch sewing allowance, and then from there, I'm going to measure the 20 inches and put a mark there, okay? So that's the stretch of fabric that I'm going to need. So I'm going to measure 20 inches all the way through, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do is to cut it out, so that I remain with the fabric that I want to work with. Okay. Now for the width measurement of my top, I'm going to use the bust measurement. Mine is 42, okay? So I divide that by 2 because I folded my fabric in half. So I'm cutting front and back at the same time, okay? So if I divide that by 2, I'm going to get 21, okay? So I measure 21 inches, okay? From here, from the edge, I measure 21 inches, okay? There is my 21 inches, okay? And I put a mark. Now I'm going to add 1 inch ease and 1 inch sewing allowance. So that's 23 inches. So I'm not going to cut anything. The fabric is just enough to give me the total width that I need, okay? So that is that. So before I cut out the armholes, because this is the front and back together, I don't want to cut it here and have side seams. What I'm going to do is to use this as the one back seam. That's why I left 1 inch sewing allowance here. So I'm going to just join this right first before I can show you how to do the armholes. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, the next thing you are going to do is to, with this folded side of the fabric, this is now the wrong side of the fabric, and that is the seam that I have made, okay? Joining the front and back together, right, as you can see, okay? Now I'm going to put that folded edge to where this I've stitched, okay, to that seam allowance, leaving the 1 inch over there, okay? Now when my fabric is folded into 4 like this, I'm going to now cut out the armholes, okay? So this is where I'm going to cut out my armholes. That's going to be the center back, and that is going to be the center front, okay? So what you need is your armhole measurement, okay? Mine is 18. I divide that by 2. I'm going to get 9, okay? So from the 9 inches, which is half my armhole depth, I'm going to subtract the depth of the off shoulder. If it's 4 inches, it will be 9 minus 4. That will leave me with 5. If it's 5 inches, it's going to be 9 minus 5. That is going to leave me with 4. So the 4 inches is now that I'm going to use it here, okay, to cut out the armhole for this particular top. So my armhole depth, I'm going to use 5 inches because I've just gone down from my shoulder 4 inches down, and then I'm going to use the remaining 5 inches. I hope you understand, okay? But at the same time, I've got to consider also the 1 inch sewing allowance. So what I do is I just measure 1 inch down and mark, okay? And then from that 1 inch mark, I'm going to measure 4 inches, okay, for my armhole depth, and then I'll just go ahead and draw a curve, okay? You can just freehand it to touch that 1 inch mark, or you can go all the way up, right? So the next thing you are going to do is just to go ahead and cut it out, okay? Right, so that's the armhole done, okay? So if I'm going to open this up for you guys like this, you are going to see what I meant, okay? Right. So that is the top. This is the back where the seam is, and that is the center back, right? And this is the front, okay? So now the next thing we are going to do is to cut out the sleeves. Now to cut out the sleeves, again you fold your fabric into 2 as I have done, okay? This is the right side of the fabric, and then you are going to measure 1 inch sewing allowance, okay? Just like the top, okay? So from that 1 inch mark, you are going to mark the desired length of your sleeve, okay? I want mine to be 16 inches, okay? Because I want a little frill at the bottom. So I'm going to mark 16 inches, okay? So this 16 plus 1, that's 17. I'm going to mark 17 inches across the fabric, okay? So that I can cut it out. Okay? So the next thing you are going to do is to fold the fabric again into 4, okay, like that. Okay, so this is going to be our armhole, right? So we will open it up, okay. So you got this one opened, that folded end. So you got it open and you got 4 layers of fabric here. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Right. So this is where you are going to cut out your armhole. And to do that, you simply do like we did with the top, front and back. You measure 1 inch, okay? 1 inch sewing allowance here. And then I'm going to measure the 4 inches, the armhole depth, okay? Right. And then again, I'm going to draw a curve, right, to match with the front and back of the top. You can freehand this, you don't have to use an armhole curve. If you have one, you can just go ahead and use it. The next thing I'm going to do is just cut it out. Okay, so now we have our sleeves done. Okay, so if you open it up, that's our sleeves done. Now to start sewing, separate the sleeves and with right side facing, join the sleeves on the side, okay? Using 1/2 inch sewing allowance, as well as doing overlocking to tidy it up and overlocking the edges of the sleeve as well, okay? That's what I'm going to do now. Now the sleeves are ready. The next thing you are going to do is turn them inside out, okay? Once you've done that, okay, this is one sleeve done. You get your top, okay, which is still on the wrong side because the seam is still here. Now what you do is pin it onto the armhole like this, okay? Right. So you pin your sleeve in like that. The sleeve is in place now. Next thing you are going to do is just to do 1/2 inch sewing allowance to join it to the top. Do the same with the other sleeve. Okay. After attaching the sleeves, as you can see, I've done overlocking at the top on the sleeve edges as well as the hem of the top. Okay. This will be fairly straight, as you can see, right? Okay, now the next thing you are going to do is go down 1 inch, okay? Remember our 1 inch mark there. We go down 1 inch and pin all the way around, okay? At the top, you do the same on the sleeves. You go down 1 inch and stitch as well, okay? But on the hem, you don't use 1 inch allowance, you just use a 1/4 inch, okay? 1/4 inch at the hem, right? So 1 inch top, 1 inch on the sleeves, and a 1/4 inch at the hem, okay? So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, it should look like this now. All the sewing is done. The top, the arms, sleeves, and the hem, okay? Now what I'm going to do is to measure the thick elastic is what I've decided to use on the off shoulder. Okay, so if I measure this off shoulder, I've got 1 inch there, okay, which is the same as 2.5 centimeters. Okay, so I'm just going to go down 5 millimeters here and stitch, or if I turn my tape measure over to the inches, it's 1/4 of an inch there, and then I leave the 3/4. Okay, why am I leaving 3/4? Because my elastic is 3/4 of an inch wide, as you can see. Okay, right, which is equal to 2 centimeters. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to come down 1/4 of an inch and stitch again here all the way around. Right, on the sleeves, because I'm using a lot thinner elastic, okay, and the measurement is just over 5 millimeters, just over 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so it doesn't matter really how much I stitch here, because I'm just going to make that frill effect. So I'm going to prefer even to go down and leave 1/2 inch, go down 1/2 inch and leave 1/2 inch. Okay, it's going to make look more stylish as you see the end product. Okay, so those are the 2 things I'm going to do. Right, come down 1/2 inch here and stitch, and then on the off shoulder just come down 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do now. The next thing you're going to do is to insert the elastic, which is measured by your off shoulder round measurement minus 5 inches. That's how long you want your elastic for the off shoulder, and for the arm round, it's just your arm round measurement also minus 5 inches. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to insert the elastic. Here is the version of the free top. Okay, that's the free top version of this off shoulder top. Now we are going to do the peplum version. Okay, remember I left 5 inches at the bottom there so that I can put a peplum on it. So we are going back to the sewing machine now and do the peplum. You have a preference or a choice of leaving it the way it is, okay, if that's what you prefer. Okay, so the first thing you are going to do is to just go up 5 inches all the way and mark. Right, okay, you see what I'm doing? Just measuring 5 inches all the way, so that I have a guideline of where I'm going to put my elastic. Okay, right. Once I have done that, I'm going to measure the bottom part of the skirt, or the top, sorry, it's not a skirt. I'm getting here 22 inches, as you can see, right? So the midpoint is at 11 inches, okay? So I'm going to measure 11 inches at the 5 inch mark, right? And put a vertical mark here, right? Okay? So this mark is the same I'm going to use at the back here as well, okay? So I'm going to put a pin here to mark that anyway, the midpoint at the back. I'm also going to mark a side and put a vertical mark, and put a vertical mark here on the other side as well. Okay, you are going to need these vertical marks, very important. You see them? Now, for the amount of elastic that you want, you're going to determine, you need your waistline measurement. Mine is 36, and I'm going to subtract 5 inches so that I can have the length of elastic that I want. Okay, so that's what I'm doing now, measuring the elastic. midpoint of your elastic. Okay, it's very easy for me because it's black. Okay, and then you bring that one to the center here and mark. You make 4 equal points. Okay, you've got 4 equal parts of your elastic like I have done here. Okay, so this is what you are going to do. Starting with the middle part, okay, you are going to pin the elastic onto this top, that vertical point. Okay, it's very visible. Pin your elastic there. Okay, pull it to match it with that mark on the elastic. Okay, pull and mark it, match it with the vertical point here. Okay, and then come this side. Okay, again matching that mark with the side vertical point of the top, right here, and pin. You see what I have here. Okay, so now what's going to happen is you're going to stitch your elastic along that line that you've marked, the 5 inches line, at the same time pulling the elastic. Okay, so as soon as you stitch, it's going to bring that gathering effect onto your top. Okay, so I'm going to do the same on the other side as well. So this is how you make the peplum. Just stitch the elastic at the same time pulling it. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do now. So here's the finished top with the peplum. Okay, elastic is in place now, as you can see. Okay, I'm going to put it back on the mannequin. The mannequin is slightly bustier than the client who's having this top, so it looks a bit tight on the mannequin, but you can at least have an idea of what it looks. Okay, so I'm going to put it back on there, and you can see what it looks like. Here is our top now with the peplum effect, as you can see. Right, I would prefer this one. Okay, yeah, there it is. There it is. There's it back. Okay, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up, and also share with your friends and family who are like-minded. Okay, and subscribe to this channel. God bless you, but you will not be seeing me outside because this top is not mine. Okay, thank you very much.